Yeah, he just wanted to eat his little algae and sit down there and chill. But that male or female swam down there and just went, "We need to go," and then they just swam off together like he or she was aggravated.
Oh,
yeah,
that's sad. See, I probably would have come up with a different story that he was waiting for her and she came, and then they went and swam off into the ocean together.
Oh no, I saw him roll his eyes. He or she rolled their eyes, but.
So as a creative, I knew that I always wanted to run a business, but I didn't know the businessy things. I'm Kim Russo, owner of On Brand Designs, creator of the Profitable Brand Designer course, and this is my cute man over here.
I thought we were going to say handsome man, but I'm handsome man Jeremy, co-hosting the show with Kim, hoping to share some knowledge and laughs as we share our journey together as an entrepreneurial couple.
Thanks for being here, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello, and welcome everyone to a fun episode about our excursions a couple weeks ago to the Virgin Islands of St. Thomas and visits to St. John. So,
yeah,
how did you enjoy your trip, my sweetheart?
It was awesome. We went for 7 days.
7 days, and we'll give you the backdrop on what led up to this event. The backdrop, the backstory, the backdrop, whatever.
This is the backdrop.
Yes. So anyway, so we got a great group of friends that I personally knew from when I lived in the Charlotte area over 10 years ago. So I met them in 2010, and so they actually ended up buying a condo in the Myrtle Beach area where I have a condo. So after moving down to Charleston in 2014, I was able to reconnect with them back in 2018, and we've, been tight still ever since then, just hanging out. We'll do all the major holidays, New Year's, St. Patty's, Halloween, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Yeah, so we always connect with them, and so we got a good group there. So took a group for my buddy's 40th birthday, and one of his things was he just wanted a good group of friends to get together and go. He actually wanted to go sailing the BVIs, but that was couldn't get as many people to go on that. So we got a house in St. Thomas and went and just celebrated his birthday with 6 great couples again that we hang out with all the time.
Well, also, let's backdrop it a little bit more.
Drop it back.
We went on a cruise with them in November, and I was seasick for most of it. And so the idea of spending a week in the middle of the ocean was not fun. So he was catering to his friends.
Well, we only did 4 days.
Right, but the idea of going for his birthday, he originally wanted a boat, a catamaran trip.
I think a catamaran would have been different than a cruise ship, but we don't know. But yes, Kim, not to say she can't ever do another cruise, and that was a smaller ship. So I think if we got a big ship.
Yeah, and I planned out my drugs better.
And you didn't take too much Dramamine. I think you overdosed on Dramamine.
Well, I didn't take any Dramamine. I took everything else, and then when I finally took Dramamine, I was good. I took like a water pill because maybe I was dehydrated. I put one of those, when I put the patch on my ear, that's when I was the worst. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of factors. So I went in very, for lack of a better word, cocky, because we go on boats all the time in Charleston with our friends, but that's intercoastal. And I'm such a water person. I mean, I grew up swimming in the pool for 3 hours a day from 6 years old until I was 18 years old.
Well, I grew up deep sea fishing, and that's where you go out and you can't even see any land anywhere around you because you're going about 60 miles out to go fishing. And I can't, again, I grew up as a kid and I've never been affected by, seasickness. So I've always been fine on boats, ships, whatever. Probably could have served in the Navy, Coast Guard, been just fine.
But that was his original intent, and I think he was like thinking about not only from a cost perspective, but someone like me that could get seasick. Even his wife, who planned the whole trip, thankful for her.
She did a
for
great
sure.
job.
She sometimes says too. Now they'll probably go at some point, and I feel like going into the next. It was my first cruise. I understand what to do, but this was such a fun trip, and he still got his catamaran because we did a day private tour because there was 12 of us total, so 6 couples.
Yep, got a huge house. It was amazing. It was just the whole trip. I mean, it's just fumbling over my words just to describe how good that trip was. I was, it's one of those things where you're looking so forward to it. And again, his wife did such a great job in planning. She just, she was just like, here's the total, give us the money. And I was like, all right, cool. So it was really nothing in the way of planning that we had to decide to get our flights and everything and just show up, which I almost sent our flights to the wrong island. Almost put us at St. Martin and not St. Thomas, which
is also not entirely your fault. So originally when this trip was planned, we said we were in, but my handsome man over here didn't have a passport, and St. Martin is British Virgin, right? Or it's,
I think maybe
you need a passport. All I know is to get in there. So you were in the process of getting your passport, but she did not have the confidence that you would get it, and so she booked a house and started planning with us excluded. And then when we were at Myrtle for one of our holidays, we were talking about like how we're excited to go, and she's like, so I didn't think you guys were coming, so I'm gonna have to find another house to fit y'all, because we all wanted to, we're all adults, we're in relationships, wanted to make sure that we had a house that we all had our own rooms and had that space. Yeah. So, but she ended up thanking us because the house was amazing, and if we hadn't stepped in, like, this was a better house with the most amazing view. So it all worked out, but then we didn't need your passport at all.
When Kim and Jeremy say they're gonna go, you just make it happen because we're the life of the party. I am, and so, but again, I'm really
caretaker of that.
Really excited to talk about like how much fun we had on that trip because it was an absolute blast. And by the way, the passport situation, if anybody out there listening needs to get a passport renewed, you don't have to expedite it. I expedited it because I thought it was going to take forever. I guess with the COVID stuff, they were backed up on, like, it was taking months to get your passport. But I went to the passport office and I'd even paid for the expedited, to get it quicker. And the guy's like, yeah, this will be to you in about 2 weeks. And I did this back in May, and our trip wasn't until, like, again, a couple weeks ago. And
for
Labor Day weekend or whatever. And I was like, so he's like, yeah, the turnaround times are fine now. So if you're out there trying to get your passport renewed, you're good. Probably get it in a couple weeks. But yeah, I mean, again, this is just a great group of friends that we love hanging out with, love spending time with, and we just always have a great time anytime we go somewhere and do stuff with them. So what were some of the highlights that. I mean, everything was great for me.
Well, before we even get to there, I just want to share how this kind of correlates with this podcast, because we were talking about business growth, and especially for creatives, and how to, the reason why we're doing this together is we're a couple outside of business. We also help each other, but there's that work-life balance and being able to set yourself up as an entrepreneur to be able to have some flexibility and freedom, and what is it all for if we're not? And so this was amazing to be able to take a laptop-free vacation as a business owner and set everything up so that can be done, and knowing it can be done. So, there's a difference between working for a company and you take vacation than there is for owning a business and taking vacation. So, there was things that I had to do to prepare, but it can be done. And did not touch my computer except for on the airplane, and that's just because of my manifesting generator self-diagnosed ADHD ways that I just can't sit there. Like I can't just watch TV. I need to be creative and doing something. So, but kept the computer in the bag and went a little bit back and forth with my team on my phone. But really, how I set that up is going into it, preparing the team for months that I was going to be gone, preparing my clients that I was going to be gone, and really working hard before and after we came back to, get some more leads and sales and do all the things to making sure that that is something that is possible and repeatable. And so I just wanted to kind of preface it. That's why we're really talking about this is like, yes, because we went on this couples trip together and we want to share everything about us, but it's really relevant because we're talking about how you can just take 7 days off and enjoy life and still be an entrepreneur and not have things burned to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to mention, we wanted to go to a beautiful tropical location and just, again, spend some time with some great friends and which we consider family. So, yeah.
But yeah, for highlights, I would say, first of all, just it was beautiful there.
Yeah.
Like, we live in Charleston, and I kind of had to pinch myself, and I came back and be like, okay, we live, and I don't want to take for granted because, I'm originally from New York City, and now I get to live where I want to live, on the water and see the most amazing views. But it's a different type of water, and it was just all the forestry there, the teal blue waters. It was very mountainous, and you could see little islands from everywhere on the island and little coves. And we went to a different beach pretty much every single day.
Mm-hmm. Because we technically live where people vacation too, so we kind of take that for granted. I mean, we live 3 miles from the beach, so we can go there anytime we want to, but it's totally different. I told everybody, I said, it just feels like when you're on, and that you hear the term, you're on island time, and it feels like it really is because time just really moves slower there.
There was times in the day where like, wait, we've been up, we've had breakfast, we've done this, we've gone here, we're at the beach, and it's only 2:00. But it was such a good thing. It was just so slow moving. It only felt fast when we got back, and I was like, oh man, I wish I was still on vacation.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you come back and you're like, and that's you just relive that's one of the good things about taking a trip like that. You get to hold on to the memories and everything. But that was a great time. I mean, we got there and headed, because we had a driver for the whole week, which was awesome.
Highly recommend.
Awesome, yeah. If you're ever going to take a trip with a group out to any of the Virgin Islands, because you were talking about how mountainous it was. So as we mentioned, Kim gets a little seasick, but she also is not that great in the car. She gets car sick too. So going zigzagging up and down mountains, I think the first day really that was part of the problem where you got a little nauseous because it was kind of set in that all the driving through the mountains.
Then I got to be passenger princess and sit in the front the whole time to avoid getting sick. But I definitely was not feeling well, and was one of those dramatic moments where I was like, well, at least I'm going to die. I'm going to die on a tropical beach.
Yeah, that first day was not great. But yeah, the first.
But you know what's funny? So that day, when I first got there, I wasn't feeling sick, and it just kind of caught up to me. And I still, out of the whole trip, that was my favorite beach. It was the most beautiful. We also had it was very private, so we went during, I guess it would be hurricane season, so it was quiet. A lot of things were kind of closed on the island, but we weren't staying in a resort. We were staying in an Airbnb, and there was 2 days, I think, or one day that we were there that there was a cruise ship, so it was a little bit crowded at a different beach that day. But that beach was just, it was the first day, it kind of set the tone, and the ocean was just so clear and teal. And now we were in even more clear water the next day, but there was a palm tree that was laying on its side that I was like, we have to take a picture on it. I felt so excited getting there. So even though I ended up not feeling too well, it was still just so beautiful. And I was like, this is what I want to be every day.
Yeah. And that first day, and that was the day that, so if you know me, you get to know me through, this podcast and whatever, you'll get to know that I'm very life of the party, very outgoing extrovert. And so we get there and we're all in the water, just hanging out. It's kind of settling into the day in the area that we're in, and I'm looking out over the beach, and I recognized this guy, or I thought I did, and I was like, that guy goes to my gym or our gym, and our gym was like a half a mile from the house, and so again we're here in Charleston area, and I yelled his name out, and he said, "Dang, it is you." And he said, "I actually heard you before I saw you." Because again, there weren't that many people on the beach, and he was out there vacationing and everything. So I was like, but that's small world stuff.
Such a small world. It was our first day. There's so many beaches on the island. This is like one that you pay for to go into, and he happens to also be on a beach that is spread out. There was like, I don't know, at least a mile of beach. I don't really know, but he happened to be so close enough to where we parked for the day that he heard you and saw you.
And then and it was like, and if well, obviously, if you were to get to know my dad, when I told my mom that story, she's like, "Yeah, you're definitely your dad's son," because he's very he's been on a cruise ship before and run into people that he knows. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So pretty cool experience. We got to connect with him and hung out with him a couple of times while we were there. But I mean, so just beach hopping, and for our friend's 40th. Well, not for the actual his birthday, but the day before. That was we played some Survivor games.
So we always kind of celebrate. So your birthday is only a week after his, so we usually celebrate Myrtle every year and do some sort of not activity, but there's some sort of theme. So if you haven't seen my social or anything like that, but I'm really into planning parties. I love a good theme. And maybe that's why I'm the programs director for American Marketing Association. But I love a good theme and decorate and all that stuff. And so we actually had one idea. So that's where I came in to help our friend that turned 40, his wife, who was planning everything. And we originally had a Gilligan's Island theme. And then when she was, kind of dawned on her, she wanted to do more of like an activity-based theme. And so he loves to watch Survivor, and so she reached out to me, and she really did all of it, but I kind of gave her some input a little bit here and there, which was also fun because I acknowledged that nobody else except one other person knew that was helping her.
I didn't know what I almost put us on the wrong island, so I didn't really know a lot.
But yeah, so we had like a full day of activities, and like even when it came down to like eating, they eat gross insects and things, so she had candy. It just happened that Halloween it worked out that the stores had like brain gummies and things like that. So she went all out, and that was a lot of fun.
And then was that the same day that y'all lost me on the trail?
Yes. Well, okay, back up. So Sunday was the beach that I got sick at that I loved. Monday we went to
St. John.
Yeah, Monday we went to St. John's, and I went snorkeling for the first time, and I was obsessed. Like, loved it. I felt like Ariel in her little ocean, or I was in an aquarium with all these fishies. But I will say, I was really scared at first, and I almost didn't do it because we're at the beach here in Charleston, and a fish comes up and bumps me. I freak out. Like, I can't see it. I don't want it touching me. No, thank you. And that's like kind of what I was thinking. So glad that I decided. I was like, you know what, we're here in this another amazing beach on St. John's, and when am I going to get this opportunity again? Like, just do it. And I felt so safe. I wasn't scared at all. I felt like I was home. It was such an amazing feeling, and it felt so natural, and I just was so cool swimming with the fishies. None of them touched me, which was great because that might have been a little bit different.
You could have shooed them away.
But I just felt like I was swimming in a fish tank, and was so happy. The colors were beautiful. The water was so clear. Seeing different, coral, and was it there was like stingray, and the turtles, like the sea turtles were my favorite. They were just so slow and cute. And
see, I didn't snorkel that day because I didn't have any equipment.
Well, I don't know if I saw the turtles that day, but when we were on the catamaran, that's when I
Yeah.
saw them the most. And the
And
starfish and the octopus and the eels and like so much.
Yeah. And then we went to visit Kenny Chesney.
Yeah.
I didn't technically, but like we went to it's called the Windmill Bar, which is up on top of the mountain, and we watched the sunset from the Windmill Bar, and it's right next to Kenny Chesney's house. So I don't know if there's any country music fans out there, but Kenny's got a nice little spot out there at his place. Actually has a helicopter landing pad, so he doesn't have to worry about all those mountains.
No.
Yeah. So, and then just a beautiful sunset out there, and that was pretty much our first time to get to see a really nice sunset because that was that Monday.
It was kind of cloudy that day, but it was still really beautiful there.
Yeah. And then was that the same night that we went and like we sat on the balcony and watched the clouds of but anyway, like one night Kim and I just sat there on the balcony of the house, and so the house was up on a cliff, and you could just like the clouds would just come in front of you. And then I said, "Hey, look, the clouds are just right there." And she's like, "Yeah, but she's like, I was like, do you know how they're normally in the sky? Like very high? I mean, they were still in the sky, but I was like, they're normally, because the altitude is so much different. Like they were floating right in front of us, in front of the house, and it was just so cool. Just seeing that, but then
the house was like built into a cliff, and a lot of the houses there were built into cliffs because it was so mountainous, and like the roads were all zigzaggy and off to the side. Like I could never drive there.
Yeah.
But like most of the houses were built on some sort of angle or cliff or hill or like driveways. I mean, it's good they don't have snow there. Coming from the north, I was like thinking that too. Like there is no way. Also, having a stick shift, getting stuck on one of those hills, I would not want to be that person. But it was, the house was on a cliff, so it was pretty high up, and so we were like almost even with the clouds, and so many stars because we were in a cove. There wasn't a lot of houses, so there wasn't a lot of light. It was like so dark, and you couldn't see the moon from that side of the house. You had to go, like, there was a jacuzzi outside, like on the other side of the house where you could see it, but on this one spot that was facing the ocean and the cove there was just so dark. But I saw a shooting star one night, and like the stars were just so clear. But yeah, I think it was a couple nights we actually sat out there, and we just were, that night in particular, we were like trying to, do all the shapes with the clouds and what do you see here and what do you see there.
Yeah, and that was very awesome. So that was what, Monday, and then Tuesday we played the Survivor games, and then that's when I was getting to the point of y'all left me on the trail.
You left yourself. You
I
just
did not
dipped out.
I was like, I turned off to go into the woods to take a bathroom break, and then
didn't
didn't tell anybody. I'm a loner sometimes. I'm like, and then I turned back around and nobody's there. And I'm
we kept walking.
Yeah, y'all kept walking, and then I went down and I tried to find, and then there was this guy that was coming through the, I guess the same path that y'all took,
it wasn't even really a path. It was like brush. Like I felt like I was in the safari trying to get through to this. So the goal was we were on this cliff, and there was two beaches. One, we saw people down there. Like there's a way to get there somehow. One of the ways was a drive, but it was completely on the other side. Like there's no way we could have gotten there. So we looked on Google Maps and found there was a way that we could walk there. And so we just kept going, and I thought he just went back to the house because
I eventually did
and couldn't find him.
Yeah, because I walked down there, and the guy was like, "Yeah, your people." He said, "Are you looking for your people?" I said, "Yeah," and he said, "Oh, just go down there, the path that I just took." And I said, "Okay." And I tried to walk down that path 5 different times, and I was in just my sandals, and I kept slipping on these rocks, and I was like, well, there's no way they made it down there. I don't know where they are. Maybe they went, maybe they didn't even make it. So I was like trying to find my way back to the house, and then I was like, well, look, because every house had a gate, and I tried to slip around a gate to see, and there was no way I could get around that. So anyway, I made it back to the house. thankfully hung out with the crew that didn't actually go down there because everybody didn't go down there. So no, but that would have been great if I would have been able to see that because it looks like y'all got some pretty good drone footage and because we had one buddy that brought his drone and got some amazing shots like from the house and everywhere. He was also our Jim Cantor.
Dave Cantor.
Dave Cantor. I know, but the guy's name is really Jim Cantor. Anybody that knows like the Weather Channel, and he was actually here right before we left to go on that trip in Charleston because there was a big storm that came through. But he would basically play it up like going around, and the birthday boy. He would always. It was kind of like a skit for every day. He would come and like do a weather report, and so that was kind of fun too. So we made again we just always have fun together, and that was a little skit that we played up all week. And then Wednesday was pretty much like, I'd say the big day. That's where I got to not snorkel for the first time because my last trip to the Virgin Islands. He didn't want to snuggle. He just wanted to eat his little algae.
Couch, and we have 3 others.
Yeah, he just wanted to eat his little algae and sit down there and chill. But that male or female swam down there and just went, we need to go. And then they just swam off together like he or she was aggravated.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's sad. See, I probably would have come up with a different story that he was waiting for her and she came and then they went and swam off into the ocean together.
Oh, no. I saw him roll his eyes. He or she rolled their eyes, but which was a sunken ship.
And I swam over a shark and I didn't freak out.
Yeah. And see, I hate that I was over there snorkeling on the other side, so I didn't get to see the ship.
You, same thing with the hike. I would always call you to come over, and you just were in your own little worlds, all the time. Well, one of the things that I tried to tell you to do is there was, our friend that planned it, and then another friend, they go scuba diving and snorkeling all the time, and one of them in particular, she knows, every single fish. And so did our friend. They're both our friends. But so I don't know any of these fishes. And so I stuck with them the whole time because, one, that made me fearless with the shark because, Dave was chasing after the shark with the GoPro. But when I stuck close to them, they could call me and point out stuff that I didn't know what it was. So there was a lobster hidden under a rock and they dove down to get the lobster out so we could see it. And I tried to show it to you, but, it was too hard. And then I saw an octopus with them one day, which is, they said.
I saw the octopus too.
Oh, no, there's no way you did because you weren't on that snorkel. Now, there was supposedly an octopus in that one rock that we got to off the catamaran, but it wasn't there. So we saw the octopus.
I saw my own octopus somewhere else, okay?
We saw an octopus at Koki Beach, so it was just the 3 of us. You were in the water, just the 3 of us went. So that was the day that we saw it. But they said, well, octopus are nocturnal, so you don't really see them during the day. And this was the middle of the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And we saw it, and then it went back into a rock, and then we kind of went on a little bit more, came back, and it was out. And it kept coming out and going back in. But it was really cool. And then there was these different types of sea urchins and these shrimp things, and
we had a big starfish too.
Oh, one of the places the boat had it was a starfish party. It was starfish everywhere. I was gonna say graveyard, but they were all alive, so it's not really a graveyard. But it was huge starfish everywhere. It was so cool. Yeah. What else did we see? We saw different types of eel. Swam with barracuda next to us.
Well, I think one of the coolest things that I saw was you talking about the sea turtles, and it was so cool since I went off and did my own thing. I saw my own show, and the sea turtle, it was so funny because I equated it to the sea turtle was at the bottom, just chilling out, just eating, just minding his own business, not bothering anybody. And all I could equate it to was that's the man, the husband, just down there chilling, eating his little dinner. And here comes this other sea turtle down there to ruin his afternoon and get onto him about something. And I thought that might have been the girlfriend or the wife.
Stereotypical.
That's the way I was look at this female.
Uh-huh.
Look at this female sea turtle coming down there to and she did it. came in there, and maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it was the female eating.
pretty sure
I
it's the
don't
other way
know,
around.
male or female sea turtles. So maybe it was the man. So not to say it's the
Yeah, maybe it was
stereotypical.
the man trying to come bother the woman.
It might have been. Who knows? I don't know
Get some
genders of sea
turtle
turtles.
hanky.
Yeah. Well, somebody came down there and just started messing with him, and it was funny because his reaction was like, "Did you just leave me alone? Like you just messed up my down there chilling." And then
you're probably thinking that because sometimes my love language is physical touch, so sometimes I might come and try to give you too much touch.
Yeah, so maybe that's why I was like,
come snuggle with me on this.
Yeah, he didn't want to snuggle. He just wanted to eat his little algae
couch, and we have 3 others.
Yeah, he just wanted to eat his little algae and sit down there and chill. But that male or female swam down there and just went, "We need to go," and then they just swam off together like he or she was aggravated.
Oh,
yeah,
that's sad. See, I probably would have come up with a different story that he was waiting for her and she came, and then they went and swam off into the ocean together.
Oh no, I saw him roll his eyes. He or she rolled their eyes, but no. So that was great. Like that was a great. And then we, took the rest of the trip. Did another great sunset watching, and yeah. But that was. I mean, then we had.
I think the boat, actually, the catamaran was the prettiest sunset. Like
the boat,
really,
yeah.
Like, saw the sun going down. Yeah, and then the next 2 days were
pretty much beach. Yeah, hanging out on the beach and chilling and just. And then at night we had some. The food was pretty good. We had some. We had some good steak, and the last night we did like that. I can't remember fish bar.
Yes,
what was the name of it?
We had that fish. I can't even remember what fish I had, but it was so good. It was like the best fish I've ever had.
Yeah, I had actually a really nice poke bowl that was really good, and so yeah, the food was good. But we ate a lot at the house, but then had a couple nice dinners out. So yeah, the whole trip was great, and then we did some times at what was the area that we would go to?
Like downtown, I guess, where there was a couple
Duffy's,
bars and stuff.
Duffy's bar, which was like I guess a popular bar for St. Thomas, and I can't remember the area that it was, but anyway, that was a good time. So
yeah, we went there a few times.
Yeah. The first, I think it was when we went to the well, it's definitely the night that we did the Survivor games because we stayed at the house pretty much all day, and then we wanted to get out of the house because the driver would give us 3 round trips throughout the day. So I had to make use of one of those trips for that day. So yeah, but then but again, it was kind of dead, which was good because we just were pretty much trying to hang out with our crew and everything. So great time. So if y'all ever get a chance, definitely go check out St. Thomas and St. John because they're right there. What is it, 15-minute ferry ride to get over there? Yeah. So yeah.
And make sure you take time and vacation and recharge. So it was definitely something that was much needed for sure. So.
Yeah, and the only sad thing is coming back because when we flew out there, we got pretty much a full day of hanging out because we woke up at freaking 4:30 in the morning to get on our flights at about 6:30. So we got there at about 1:30 and pretty much had a full day. But the last day was pretty much just all travel, and we got home.
We got to the lookout point. I mean, having the driver was pretty awesome because he could show. He would give us recommendations and tell us what things were. And the last day we had to be out of the house by 10, which is typical, but our flights weren't until 2 or 3. And so he's like, "Well, let me take you to this lookout point." And so
that was really cool.
It was nice to not have to just sit. I mean, we still sat in the airport for a while, but it was nice to not have to sit there all day and still make something out of it. So
I guess we just wanted to share that with you guys and tell you to work hard and play hard and get out there and enjoy life and see places you've never seen before because we definitely enjoyed it, and we'll definitely talk about that trip for many years to come and make more memories as they come about.
And make sure that you follow us on our pages, On Brand Designs and the Profitable Brand Couple, because we've already been posting some stuff from our trip, and the Profitable Brand Designer Instagram page as well. But we'll be posting stuff and highlights here and there, but we've already got some stuff up there to kind of visualize what we've been talking about. So make sure you also watch us on YouTube. But thanks for listening.
And go travel the world.
We'll have to go on another vacation like ASAP so we can talk about it again.
We'll put our Venmos out there so y'all can put to our travel fund too.
Yeah, right.
Buy us a drink or two there. All right, y'all have a good one.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. We hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we enjoyed creating it. Make sure that you follow On Brand Designs on all social media pages and on Instagram, The Profitable Brand Designer, to get the latest episodes, releases, and tips and tricks for brand designers. And also,
you can also follow us as a couple on Instagram at Profitable Brand Couple. That's profitable.brand.couple. So we hope you follow us there and like and comment.
And subscribe and follow us on YouTube to see us in action.
There you go.
Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.